Everybody up on this corner is vice lords. You get with a bunch of guys on the corner and you ain't a vice lord, well, they figure you something else. They figure maybe you belong to another club. And if they figure that, well, you just might as well give it up right there, because they're going to put some hurting on you. Somebody asks you if you're in a club, well, you tell them. You should never try to hide that you're a vice lord, because if you can't tell the truth, you should never join up.
The vice lords is an alright club to me, until they get the juice in them and feel like fighting. I don't go for that. Some of the older boys can talk sense, but the young ones, they're ignorant. They're destructive. But I wouldn't say they're rough. They try to be. I mean, they do a good job of making people think they're rough, because they're always jumping on somebody. A lot of people figure like, get rid of them before they start something. But I don't figure like that. I say, wait till something starts. Then if nobody messes with me, leave them alone.
In 1957, gang sweeps began to be implemented by the Chicago police in an effort to stop the violence. But instead, the teens were being badly beaten and incarcerated by the Chicago police. During these sweeps, a 15-year-old by the name of Edward Perry and his group of phantom burglars were arrested for burglary and admitted to the St. Charles Reformatory, also known as the Illinois Youth Center. In 1957, Pep was 14 years old when he left home and began living on his own and became a burglar. Pep wanted to be in the Imperial Champions. But when he asked Big John, the leader of the Champions, Big John allegedly said, "We don't need no punk motherfuckers in the organization." Pep was assigned to stay at the Harding Cottage at the Reformatory. When he found out that his friend from the neighborhood, Leonard Cal Calloway, was staying there as well, he arranged for Cal to be transferred to his cottage. Pep already had a rep for getting the new guys who came in the reformatory in line, and Cal was already a member of the Imperial Champions. Pep and Cal decided to click up. They also wanted to click up with Ernest Wren, also an Imperial chaplain. The boys they added were Toehold, Ralph Bonds, Maurice Miller, and one other person. Pep turned these 7 into their own organization. They organized to get the jobs that they wanted, and they ended up running the entire reformatory. These 7 individuals decided in terms of work duties who did what. All they needed now was a name. Maurice Miller thought that it was only going to be a social club and came up with the name the Conservative Lads. The Vice came from Pep looking up in the dictionary the meaning of the word vice, and it would only be fitting to refer to themselves as lords. They decided to drop the name Conservative, feeling that the street guys not only would not know how to pronounce it, they wouldn't even know what the word meant. So it was at this point that the 7 individuals became known as Vice Lords.
We normally had said that the white man normally was the Lord of all vice, so we just took their title. You know, instead of the syndicate of the mafia, we just wanted to be vice lords.
Miller got out first, and it was his job to spread the word about the vice lords. By 1958, when all of the guys were out of the reformatory, they only had competition from the 3 biggest gangs: the Clovers, the Champlins, and the Egyptian Cobras, which all had hundreds of members, and the Vice Lords only had 7. They added 4 more to the group, and now there are 11 vice lords. The vice lords threw parties and hosted dances to attract attention to the organization. At one party, a fight started with some clovers. The vice lords won, but later 50 clovers showed back up. The vice lords defended themselves and made it out of the party, but it was at that point that the vice lords knew that their numbers had to increase. So the vice lords decide on their first target, the 24-man gang, the Barons. Pep started a fight with them at Farragut High School. Outnumbered 2-1, the vice lords still beat them and forced them to flip vice lord. Next up on the hit list are the Van Dykes. The fight between the Van Dykes and the vice lords lasted 2 days. It ended when the leader of the Van Dykes found out that his own brother had become not only vice lord, but the vice lord president. He decided he would not fight against his brother, and the whole organization flipped to vice lord. By 1959, Pep had become well known for dismantling other groups and making them flip vice lord. By this point, vice lord numbers swelled into the hundreds. The vice lords made no alliances unless they took the last name vice lord, which meant they flipped anyway. Most gangs didn't like it, but eventually flipped vice lord. For those that said no, they received a beating daily until they submitted and joined. Not only were the vice lords running the streets, they were also still running the Illinois Youth Center. When Pep went back inside of the reformatory, he got word that his girl had been slapped by one of the imperial chaplains named Beauchest. He asked which hand Beauchest used, and when told, Pep vowed to bring that hand back with him after a week-long vacation. Pep set out to get immediate revenge at the imperial chaplains at a party, but the lords were beaten back due to being outnumbered, leading the chaplains to believe that they had won. One day, the vice lords heard that about 200 chaplains were hanging out at Central Park Theater on Roosevelt. 12 vice lords went against 90 chaplains when Beauchest emerged. Pep and another vice lord quickly pinned him down and carved CVL in his back and proceeded to try to cut his arm off. They got it about halfway off before the police came and broke it up. Pep was sent back to the youth center, and when word got back to the center about what Pep had done to the chaplains, a large amount of chaplains flipped vice lords. The vice lords had other gangs on a curfew, which meant you couldn't be outside after 9 p.m. or risk being severely beaten by the vice lords. Through those measures, the vice lords went on to flip another large amount of different gangs.